today's meeting. Get this ready for today's meeting and be free to ask any clarification for any issues concerning chemistry. This is the Iupac Command Center, the headquarters of chemistry in East Africa. So we are here to unpack and unmask any misconceptions in the subject called chemistry. So that's it. Like with this now, capacity building is the Iupac Command Center agent through the mind of an examiner. I don't know whether you are seeing my presentation.
No. We can't see.
You can't see. Okay, good. So let me try.
We can see.
You can see.
Yeah.
No, we cannot.
Now?
Now.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We can see it now.
You can now see my presentation now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now,
Yeah.
that kind of a scenario, I want you to now look at my analysis. This is my personal analysis that I did, not just some of those things that you see online, and some of them, they don't make a lot of sense. So this is the last year Kcse surgical analysis by me, and I was able to unpack and look at each form. And make sure that you're able to take a screenshot, those things, so that you can please co-host. I meant several of you to be co-host. Can you mute people who are making noise so that I don't have to go back? That's why I've managed to give like several guys the co-host. Okay, sijui co-host mnafanya kazi gani, kwa sababu nimewapea kazi hapo na naona watu people still disturbing us. Please, can you be able to mute those guys so that we don't have a lot of disturbance? The first one is that kind of a scenario. We are having that analysis, and you can be able to see it. Form 1, there were 12 marks in paper 1, there was 0 marks in paper 2 total, and paper 3 there were 8 marks because of the cooling curve. That cooling curve, we teach it in form 1. But the problem in form 1, we only teach the heating curve. But normally you can be very sure that we are always going to, if NEC will set an exam, it is always going to be a cooling curve. That was a repeat of Kcse 2005. Form 2, there were 20 marks in paper 1, 18 marks in paper 2, total 38 marks. Form 3, 23 marks in paper 1, 16 marks in paper 2, and 17 marks in paper 3 because of the titration, totaling 56 marks. Form 4 carrying it 25, 44, and 15. And you can be able to see, in fact, it was only last year that there was the Form 4 work carried very little marks. Normally Form 4 work carries more than 100 marks. Just want to. Normally, Form 4 work carries more than 100 marks. And the comment, the projection from that analysis, you can be able to see Form 4 is king. Form 4 is everything. Can you take your time and you teach Form 4 work proper? These are some of the issues that are bring a lot of issues with the Form 4 work, because you expect paper 2, the entirety of paper 2, the entire paper 2 will carry a lot of marks. The focus is on Form 2 work. These are the pillars of chemistry when you're teaching. When you are teaching, give Form 2 work enough time, especially the structure of the atom, periodic table. Go and pick any student from your class in Form 3 or Form 4 who is now performing very poor in chemistry, and ask them where they have the problem. They'll tell you they started rusting. They started performing poorly after writing chemical formula and equations. That is the biggest impediment to understanding chemistry. So make sure that the Form 2 work, you give it a lot of seriousness. In fact, that topic of atomic structure, periodic table, and equations should be given a whole term. I'll come to syllabus coverage. Practical, you know, the poor conductors are very good in practicals. Even those students who get 10 out of 80, they can still get 30 in practical or 25 with thorough drilling. Then book 4. Revision must be extensive. I'll be coming to that. Difficult questions, I don't want to come back to that, but that one, this one, I took the paper, I analyzed each of those 2 papers, 3 papers, and I was able to look at now what are those areas whereby the student had a lot of issues. And we can look at question 5 in paper 1, question 7, question 13B, question 16, question 17, 99% of the students could not decipher, whereby they were taught how to differentiate sodium carbonate and sodium sulfite using a red litmus paper and dilute nitric acid, a blue litmus paper and dilute nitric fiber acid. And that was the concept of both of them, there'll be bubbles, but this sodium sulfite, the paper will be bleached. So that is, most of the students were not able to get that. Paper 2, the question on rates, whereby students were taught to determine rate at an instantaneous rate of reaction. Many students, instead of determining rate, they were reading the volume of the product produced at a particular time. So, but that is simply carelessness. We just need to drill our students on those issues, especially graph work. That is the area for poor conductors. A student should be able to know to plot. There is no brain that is being used in drawing graphs. Then paper 3, question 2, that was lack of exposure. That is the issue of cooling curve. And this year, it was not even very difficult. But I just want to tell you this, that question of cooling curve, whereby the temperature must drop, remain constant, and then drop. If a student has 2 constants, normally it's only that last year, the marking was not very, very strict on that. But normally, if there are 2 constants, that student, the question is usually out of 8 marks. Is likely going to be marked out of 4 marks. Because the moment you have 2 constants, you meet the mark for trade. You also meet the mark for accuracy. Because the accuracy is pegged on the constant. Then automatically when you go to the graph cannot be correct if there are 2 constants. And therefore the student will not get the mark for reading from the graph. So that already takes away 4 marks out of 8. And that is how it is very easy for students to fail in graphs. And I can tell you for free, even if you ask the paper 3 examiners in this room, they're going to tell you that now, wherever we have graph work, it is a red spot. Many students are not able to answer questions on graph work. Very bad. Verdict from the command center, paper 1, most students were, most questions were descriptive and the setter was mean with marks. When you analyze paper 1 last year, I think it was the greatest undoing for most of the students because it was a little bit descriptive. I remember question or description, they are high order questions. They are not testing on knowledge. So being a descriptive question, many students, especially the poor conductor, that is whereby they scoop a lot of marks. Normally, while out of the very weak, they normally get 20, 25 marks in paper 1. But here now they really failed because there was a lot of description. It was being given 1 mark. That kind of a thing, that is one of the reasons why the paper chemistry was performed poorly last year. Paper 3, question 2, use of customized scale was misleading. Remember, those students will say they are below average. They are very good in practicals. But you find that now, when they found the graph was customized and they did the practical and they were getting the lowest temperature is around 50 and they see the graph is starting at 60, they panicked. So that was a mistake, a blunder by the examiner that affected the student performance. Our paper 3 question 3 was also wrongly set from where I sit, because according to the standard examination protocol, a question on qualitative analysis, the first test should give you a possibility of there being several ions present. Then you go on using elimination method to identify until you remain with one. But this question, after adding the nitric acid, we got a blue solution. And we have added the nitric acid, so already we know the anion present in the resulting solution is a nitrate, and the cation is copper. So in that kind of a scenario, that negated the entire process. Question 3, paper 2, question 2 was extremely high order, and question 7 was also some parts of the difficult. Like when you tell a student to write the equation for the the wet acid, the wet accumulator rather. Now the not the dry cells, the one for the car batteries, the lead acid accumulator. You know, you find that question, that kind of equation was a little bit different and difficult for most of the students. The equation from the car battery, the car batteries. So that kind of a question was a little bit higher. But what is the bottom line here? Because I want to clarify this thing once and for all. One is that the setting of chemistry papers has changed. There is a lot of originality. But we teachers, when we are teaching, are we bringing that kind of originality? Do we copy paste questions simply from the previous Kcse questions? Or do we sit down and come up with an original questions? If a student, you know, many students pass, and that's why some of you will say, this student has been bright, amekuwa akipata 80. Kwa sababu that student might be a very good in cramming. Amesoma main familia, amekram yote. Then you bring the same question, that is in the main familia, without changing anything. That student might answer that question, na anapata hata 60, 65 in paper 2, 60 in paper 1, because you have just uplifted it. But when the question is a little bit twisted in Kcse, that student will automatically rust. So can you help your student? I'll be able to share some material, some exams, so that you can be able to compare. Like for example, for those who saw the exam that I shared on the group, you could see that question on organic, the one that had a very funny flowchart. And it looked a little bit difficult for most of the students because I just varied the way that question is set. If you find a question is asking about ethanol to ethene, where can you bring propanol to propane? If we are talking about hydrogenation of ethene to ethane, can you bring propane to propane? So that at least there's that change. Just go back to your school and tell the students to draw them a diagram, or rather tell them to draw a setup to prepare and dry nitrogen 1 oxide gas. You see in the book, we have only prepared nitrogen 1 oxide gas when it is over water. What if you tell them to collect dry oxygen, to collect dry nitrogen 1 oxide? Many students will still draw the same diagram in the book and collect it over water, even if you have told them to collect the gas when it's dry. And I think you have seen it. Many times, even most of the gases like hydrogen, wherever you tell your students, draw a setup, or rather complete the setup to show how you can collect dry hydrogen gas. They're still going to collect that gas over water. So let us try to be able to have a look at scenarios, different scenarios. Let us be very much creative. Let us bring originality in setting of questions. It's very easy for that, so that the student do not get a shock finally during the Kcse. Now, let us look at now, and let me tell you this. You saw what happened with biology. Biology, they suffered for almost 5 years because the nature of setting of a moderator who has been in NEC for biology, add a way of setting. So the only way us as teachers, we are going to get better results, we need to study. What is the modus operandi of this guy who is moderating chemistry? And when we study, first of all, there is the element of originality, mostly in paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 3 there is no much because it's just copy pasting. It's just copy pasting for that kind of a scenario. So, but for paper 1 and paper 2, can you start training a student? Even in paper 3, there's that element of originality, like just twisting something little. Like they copied the question that was in 205, but they brought about the idea of customized scale. They changed. In that time, they were taught to eat the solid out to 70. This time, they were taught to eat out to 85. So let us just bring about, let's vary some things, very little things. Ukipata swali ya practical, imeanza na sodium hydroxide, test for cations, then inaishia na test for anions by adding barium nitrate and lead nitrate. Now, set the same question, but now start with lead nitrate, barium nitrate, dilute nitric acid, then unamalizia na sodium hydroxide. So that the student get to the real scenario on how to talk about that. If you rate, think about originality, like give the student the same amount of magnesium, let them react with ethanoic and another one with hydrochloric acid. Record the total time taken, then let them explain the rationale. Why is one taking more time than the other? The one that is taking more time, you bring about the comparison of rate. Maybe this acid is a strong acid, or this acid is a diabasic acid, while the other one is a weak or monobasic acid. Let us bring about some questions that have never even been seen. Like I had seen the way NEC had set question of 208. In my book, for those who have been using the demystifying, I had also projected that one time. Apart from just adding the metal to carry out displacement, you can be told to filter. Then you continue now analyzing the filtrate. Then you identify the metal. Next time, they'll tell you to identify what was solid F. Like last year, they were given solid F. They could have been asked there, identify, give the identity of solid F. Then the student could have said, this is iron metal, because they have already identified the cations present there was iron 2 ions and iron 3 ions. Okay, let's look at this. Now, of course, I had already talked about that, the issue of what is the way forward. Sit down and set an exam. Bring out an original question. I'm able to see some questions. Okay, good. People are just talking. So this is kind of thing. Tafadhali, I'm coming now to syllabus coverage. How do you cover the syllabus? I want to get that teaching and revision. What are the methods that we need to look at? The teaching and revision. So this I want to look at now. What are the strategies that you need to look at, to use in order to change grades? One, early syllabus coverage. Before I continue to that, before I talk about that, how many people are remaining with 1 or 2 topics? Anybody here who is through with the syllabus? Let's engage. This is not a summon. Wangapi wamaliza syllabus?
I'm through.
I'm through that. Well, mwingine. We can just raise up your hand so that we can be able to see. If you are through the syllabus, can you raise up your hand?
Wait, unatuona mtuko?
Okay, I can see some guys there. Okay.
Syllabus become easy.
How many are remaining with at least 1 topic? Good. So now let me come back to this. I know some people will be telling me Unajua hii si Alliance High School and bado sijui sisi bado tuko salt. My friend, if now you're still teaching chlorine and its compound in a Form 4 class, if you are still just teaching salt and solubility in the topic 1, forget about airplanes. Forget about that. Syllabus coverage does not matter whether you are teaching. I've been teaching, I taught in a private school in 2009, 2010, 2011. From there, I went to a fourth world school, an evolving school that had not completed its evolution. Because I was in a school, when I was employed in Chaoma Secondary School, it had only 92 students. We were out by the primary school. There was no entry behavior because it was just anybody who comes. But I still used to finish the syllabus early. That is trick number 1. Forget about these students when you achieve wanaletwa na 99 marks, 101. That student cannot decipher the S law. That student cannot sing, cannot be able to explain the Gay-Lussac law. Students who are getting marks of 101 or 102, those are poor conductors of mathematics. They cannot get any question that dealing with calculation. It will be very difficult for them. Go with the students who are able to understand. Go with the students wenye wanaelewa. Funza mwenye anaelewa, mwenye haelewi wachana na yeye. So I think maybe somebody wants to say something. Someone says, I can't see the presentation. Okay, good. I was looking at that. So please guys, funza watoto kama ni bright. Wachana na wale watoto washiki. Finish the syllabus first. I'll come to the way of how you finish the syllabus. I'm very pragmatic the way I do my things. So I'll take you through the syllabus coverage. Then you'll tell me whether it is practical. Use distilled note. Wacha mambo ya kutumia note za 100 pages. Come up with smart notes that you can teach with. There is structured revision. Stop using the ad hoc. You know, some teachers are very funny. You just waste papers at school. You go there and you print 10 mocks. During examination, people are there. Give somebody with a mock from Kcse, somebody with the mock from Alliance High School, somebody with the mock from Alliance from Kenya High. Stop wasting time. You can take 10 papers, and I think you saw that case last year. Umechukua 10 papers, you revise them, and then you get nothing. There is a methodology of revision. I'll talk about that. Hi, we are still teaching and revision. Okay, we are talking about syllabus coverage. Use of concept mapping. Concept mapping is the Octopus technique now, whereby you revise in a structured way. Pick concept map. If it's organic, you revise in such a manner you are able to touch all the possibilities. For those who have used the Octopus book, if you go to periodic table, question number 1 has 80 marks. You have compared all the things the examiner can use. Talk about statistically derived targets. Statistically derived targets. I don't know whether you know what are those. When I ask some of you, what is your target? Let me just show you. Before I go to that, let me more exposure to practicals for the poor conductor. Before I Okay. There are some other tropes that are disturbing me. Before I go to statistically derived target, I want to talk about now when you are through with the syllabus, deal na wale watoto weak. The weak students, expose them to practicals. Let the student understand this is called a white precipitate, not milk. Let the student know when you add a barium, you're only looking for two things, a white precipitate or no white precipitate. Let the student understand when they add sodium hydroxide, there are only three things. And you can even teach those students who are very weak, and they can remember that. Let the student know how to plot graphs and get a good scale. Let the student know how to get the mark from titration. And it's going to be very easy. Like when you look at organic, it's very easy to get marks from organic. You just need one page. If you're using the demystifying chemistry practical guide, you find the notes, whatever can be tested on organic, I've summarized in 2 pages. Even if that student is as weak as that, kuna mtoto atashindwa kusoma page mbili kweli. That is something that you can be able to do. Let me just close this and I go to something else. I want to take you through the statistically derived data. The statistically derived target. Okay, I'll still be coming to this. Okay, setting targets. The target should be structured.
The presentation is on.
Are you seeing what I'm sharing?
No.
Okay, good. Sorry. I'm just changing something. Are you seeing now?
Yes, now it is visible. Thank you.
Okay, so that is setting targets. How do you set target? I know some of you, if I ask you, what is your target? Anybody who can give me their target, you'll find somebody just saying, my target is 9. How are you going to get 9? From hell, or just the God will just come in your class and produce a mean of 9. There's a way of setting targets. They must be statistically derived. They must be obtained from statistics. How many students in the class are going to give you an airplane? How many students are going to give you? How many students are going to give you a D? How many students are going to give you a C+? Please, co-host, can you do the necessary? So, can you list the student's name, give them their target grade, and give them the progressive performance? Like, for example, you say, that's my class target. I'm just a little bit, but I'm targeting, like, if all goes well, I can be able to get that target. I'm going to have a mean of 8.723. How am I going to get? That is my class alone. Because in Alliance, we are 9 classes. So every class, we get to that. How many heads? I expect 25. How many A minus? How many C's? Although I know some of them will get, there are some students that I think they're going to give me like a C plane. So who are these students who are going to give me that? You get that? Are you saying, I even grouped them? I have their names. I know them. I know them. I don't want to display the name of the student as much, but how do you set those targets? Do you have those kinds of targets? Do you know, have you given those students that you know they're going to give you a D minus? What are you going about them? Are you the person who is going to make sure a particular student does not get an A? How? It is very much important for us to be able to understand those kind of things. It's very much important for us to be able to understand how do we do about that? How do we handle those kind of things? So like mambo ya target, it is done in a useless manner in most of the schools. That people just say our school target is 9, but you ask them how they're going to get that 9. They don't. Our mean is 11. How are they going to get that 9? 11. They don't know. In your target, it must be statistically driven. How many students are getting a plane? Do you have them? Not just I'm going to get 20 years. From who? I have mpaka niko na D minus, najua kuna vijana What najua how wakoza kuangalia watanipea D-. What are you doing about them? Have them. When, like for example, you see in this thing, uko na mtoto, uko na target yake inafaa kupata progressive performance. Huyu mtoto najua atanipea A. That is what I'm projecting. But hii exam amefanya pre-mock amenipea C+. You have to look at that. There is a particular student you expect to give you an A, but unapata ukimark paper yake electrochemistry amepata 0. What does it mean? Tell you, go and pick that student. Train him on that particular topic, because it might be the only topic that is going to make this student not to get an A. Look at ameanguka practical. Then you focus on that. It's going to be very, very important. These are facilities for teachers, but I just want to talk about that. Look at that. Are you seeing what I'm projecting?
Mr. Maluka.
Yes.
Mr. Maluka, maybe you just put full view so that we may be able to see clearly.
Atuoni.
Full view, full view.
Same unaona nini?
Eka full view.
Okay. So what are you able to see, because now you go full kabisa?
Okay.
No, you know,
You
on
can put-
on your end you can click it and then you magnify from the other end.
Can you put a full view of the PowerPoint?
Okay, yes. Okay, you're seeing now?
Yeah, that's okay. That one is fine now. Thank you.
Okay, so that is now the purple. But I think the other one, because you were able to see it, the other, because they were just smaller one. So this is now an Octopus revision technique. Are you able to see that I have summarized sulfur in one page? Mnaona ama hamuoni? That is a very pregnant slide.
Yes, you have done it.
If you go to first process, there are 3 pipes. The outermost pipe, what pass through it is superheated water. What's the role of it to melt the sulfur? We are the innermost pipe. What's the role of that? It contains the hot compressed air. What is the role of the hot compressed air? When you look at now the chemical properties of sulfur, you are able to say it. If sulfur burns in oxygen, you get sulfur oxide. There is a blue flame. In case the students asked the observation. When react with this, what are you able to see? With concentrated acid, the properties are given there. With preparation of sulfur oxide, we have copper conc sulfuric acid. We have sodium sulfide dilute HOS. On both of them, we require it. We use conc sulfuric acid to dry, and we collect the gas by downward delivery. Even needed dry, wet, rather solution of it, we use an inverted funnel. Are you seeing in a book, hizo ni line 2 3. Now you have the diagram, because when the student sees copper, anajua copper is a solid. So copper will be in the conical flask. The liquid will be in the cysto funnel. Are you get the point?
Yes.
Yes, unaona kama ni summary of chemical properties ya sulfur oxide. Kuna the automatic property ya dissolve in water to get this what cause it to turn blue to upper red, then white. The concept of bleaching, mambo ya reducing property, hapa tunaweka potassium, it is purple, it turns to colorless. Why? Because manganese changes, it reduced from +7 to +2. Dichromate change from orange to green. Are you saying anything, ama ni imekuna?
No.
Yes, we can.
So you are saying the dichromate,
We are seeing. Yeah, we are seeing.
because
Can see.
the oxidation state
Yeah.
changes from +6 to what? To +3. And these are the this is the chemical test for sulfur oxide. Again, when the student is told to describe the chemical test for sulfur oxide, will say bubble the gas through acidified potassium manganese 7. You see the way that statement is very pregnant. Now, unaona hapa chini kwa hydrogen sulfide, I'm not repeating the same for them. I've just said the reducing property of sulfur 4 oxide is similar to that of hydrogen sulfide, only that the other observation will be a yellow deposit. So when you come, that statement is enough to know that even for sulfur 4 oxide, these will remain like this. Are you get the point? Look at the contact process. All the main reactions are given there. Sulfur contains 25 lessons. Then ukuje uongeze vitu zingine kama uses sulfuric acid, uses of sulfur 4 oxide. Are you think that it is possible to summarize the entire syllabus using this technique in 50 pages?
Yes.
Hapo ndio sasa mtoto ukimaliza syllabus mapema. When I go in a double lesson, I summarize this one in the blackboard na inaisha. This is called content-based revision. Do you think you're going to revise topics like that and the student will fail in the exam? This is now how you enable students to revise. Have enough time, finish the syllabus early, have time for revision. Tengenezea watoto, show students to make notes in such a manner with 2 hours. Mtoto anaweza soma the entire syllabus kana anangoja mtihani saa 2, aliamuka 5 na kabla saa 2 ifika atakuwa amesummarize the entire syllabus. Why? Because hizo vitu mingi si atakuwa anasoma kila kitu. Anaangalia mahali amesahau, anajikumbusha. Zile zingine anasema pass. Are you saying this is a very powerful methodology? This is a very unique feature. It is also quote about Octopus methodology. Mnaiona eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I hope you find it very useful. I'm just showing you an example. Just examples. Let me now go back to where I was. Okay, sorry. Okay. Don't know what it is now. Okay, no, sorry. So I want to go back to where we were. Okay. Now back, you are able to see my presentation.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me put full view.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, good. So now, okay, syllabus reorganization and coverage. Syllabus reorganization and coverage. I'm going to show you the methodology, the strategy, and the outcomes. So I'll be very quick in that. So now, I want you to take a screenshot of that. This is how I expect you to organize the syllabus reorganization and projected time frame. You can see I've given you how to cover that syllabus from Form 1 to Form 4. Staki mambo ya uganga ya unasema we should have finished the syllabus. No, this is how you do it and tell me whether it can work. In Form 1, Term 1, can you teach introduction and classification? You completed? Is it possible?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
1 Term 2.
Possible.
Unafanya hizo topic 3. A topic like water and hydrogen, my friend, you can do it in 1 week. 2 weeks maximum. The only topic that is very big there is air and combustion. So I expect the entire Form 1 to be completed by the end of Term 2. How do you do this? Listen, teachers. I expect you not to take, even if Form 1 in Form 1, you just need to take the student 2 doubles in the lab and another double in the lab. Let me ask you, when you're teaching Form 1, do you stand in front of those students and start singing for them? Let us write the rules of the lab. Sure. No more. How can you be reading? Just tell those Form 1 the way they're excited as they are. Tomorrow, nipate umenipea master the 20 rules of the lab. Do you know the form 1 will have known that? The following day ukifika kwa hiyo class watakuwa wanataka hata kuulizwa swali. What kind of energy do you need for student to say don't run, don't hit, don't smoke? Hizo ni vitu za kuambia watoto wajifanyie. Why should you waste 1 week drawing apparatus in the blackboard when we know some of you are very poor artists? Tell the students for the apparatus. They have them in the books. Sasa hata wale wanatoka that word school walikuwa wanasema wako na kitabu moja. Sasa wako na vitabu because the government provided for them. So let us from form 1 try to incite and inject energy into this form 1 so that we train them on how to read on their own. Tunaelewana? Am I making sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, please.
Of course, I give practical solutions. I give practical advice. That is a pragmatic approach. Form 2, I want you to listen to what I've written here. The structure of the atom and the periodic table. Form 1, term 3, the entire term. Even if we are talking about teaching the syllabus faster, there are some areas you can say I've said this is the foundation of chemistry. Give it a whole term. Give it the attention it deserves. But how many formulas do you give your students to write? Unakuja tu unaandika write sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, magnesium carbonate, and aluminum nitrate. Na unamaliza. Unasema now you have understood. You are joking, my friend. Those students should not be given no less than 180 chemical formulas. Ndio wa master. From there, went kwa chemical equations. For those who have used my top-notch book 2, after the chemical formulae, I have given students 100 word equations. They rewrite again in chemical formulae and balance. If you give your student 100 equations, then it's going to be na word, or rewrite in chemical formulae. Now a balance. Do you know what you have done? With 100 equations, the minimum component of an equation will be 3. So by the time they finish those 100 equations, kuandika tu chemical formula, the components, the formula of those, they have written again 350 chemical formulas. Do you know students don't even know the formula of ammonia? Hawajui maji kwa sababu wapei. They don't remember the formula of sulfuric acid. When you are teaching the chemical formula, remember to tell for your students to learn maji ni water. Water, it has hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is valence 1. Oxygen is valence 2. That is why the formula is H2O. Let them know nitric acid iko na hydrogen na nitrate. Let them know sulfuric acid iko na hydrogen na sulfate ions. Then tukikuja kwa equation zenye zimeandikwa with chemical formula, they just balance. I have given them about 170. By the time they finish that form 2 work, they have balanced about 300 equations. Huyo mtoto atakuwa na shida kweli ya equations?
No.
Atakuwa na shida ya chemical formula after writing 500 chemical formulas? Repeatedly. Unajua hiyo repeatedly ndio inafanya. Kuna mahali ameandika hydrochloric acid plus sodium carbonate, kuna mahali ameandika hydrochloric acid plus magnesium, kuna mahali ameandika hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide sulfuric plus. Unajua by the end of the day utapata huyo mtoto ameandika formula of sodium sulfate mara 9, hydrochloric acid mara 10. By doing that, the student will master automatically the formula of the common compound. Give the structure of the atom and the periodic table a whole term. I can tell you for free, try to get where you can get top-notch book 2. You will get all those equations. It will be enough for you. Form 2 term 1, to find a chemical family structure and bonding. Form 2 to be completed by end of term. Then Form 2, term 2, effect of electric current, that is the 1 week. Salts, carbon and its compound. The concept of non-metals, mutumie hiyo Octopus nimeonyesha. It work vizuri sana. You have seen it, it can work for, especially for the non-metal, you can summarize it. Let involve students. What mambo ya kushinda ukichorea watoto how to prepare carbon dioxide, carbon 2. Let them draw by the time unakuja kesho, now summarize it in a unique way. Let the student know the uses of carbon dioxide. Do know, by the way, when you start, some things are just funny. You are just in class reading for the student. Let list the 7 physical properties of carbon dioxide. It is colorless. It is insoluble in water. What are you doing? Even those poor conductors of 1 or 2 marks, waambie kesho nikiingia hii class, nikuwe najua what are the uses of carbon 4. Let them get involved for things that they can. Kuna vitu there are some things that you're not going to tell students to do like that. Like in mole, you will not tell students to read mole for themselves. But let students be able to understand some of these things, like what are the uses of sulfuric? What are the uses of sulfur 4? How do you draw a diagram? Ukikuja the following year unauliza, what are the reagents we use to make carbon dioxide? What do you need? Is there any explanation, any magic that is required for a student to understand to name the reagent used to make sulfur dioxide? Sure. Is there any magic?
No, practice.
That is knowledge. And that is why munafunza mpaka munafika hata Kcse iko kesho na mtu anasema I want to finish that topic of na Kcse. Na unasema watoto wangu najua they are very poor. They are poor conductors. Hawashiki haraka. I have to teach them polepole. Utaona ngiza, my friend. You'll never get those kind. Funza hawa watoto hata kama ni week. Okay.
Project Form 2.
Nani huyo anasumbua, but that's it. Now, that is it for Form 2 tumalize syllabus yake by end of term 2. Haya, after carbon and its compound, kuna watu wameinua mikono. Can I hear what they want to say? Ruto na Kemboi, ama mulisahau tu kuteremsha mikono? These guys who are just unmuting themselves and they...
Project Form 2 work.
Yeah? Can you unmute yourself? Okay. Listen. After you finish carbon, usiende kwa mole. Go to continue with the chemistry on metals. Nitrogen and its compounds, sulfur and its compounds, chlorine and its compounds. Jennifer, you want to say something? You can ask.
No, it was a mistake. Sorry.
Good. I think I can hear you clearly. I think you're also getting me clearly. So,
yeah.
Nimesema hivi, listen and listen, teachers. I repeated this one so many times. Unafunza watoto day school. Na ukitoka carbon unaenda mall. As you know, as you are very aware about the mall, as you are very aware about the mall concept, you find that with the mall concept, if a student are from those day schools with mark below 250, they are poor conductors of mathematics. They don't get anything in mall, most of them. So you find mall and gas laws takes the syllabus indicates we are supposed to take 56 lessons. You can be very sure even nowadays, one term matter in of 56 lessons. Because there are only 5 lessons, 10 weeks, that are 55. Toa wiki ya kufungua ya exam, mid-term. So can you imagine taking the entire term, ukifunza mtoto moja? That is where most students lose hope. Wanasema chemistry ni ngumu, juu hawajaelewa mole. So badala ya kwenda mole, ukitoka carbon, enda nitrogen. Ili uendelee kuwachangamsha, wanajua uses of nitrogen, they can draw the apparatus, they can prepare gases, sulfur dioxide, chlorine. ukishamalizana na chemistry of non-metals, after you are through with chemistry of non-metals, now go to that topic of what? Go to that topic of, gas loads. Sasa hii naipea form 3 term 1. Arithmetic chemistry grid foundation needed. The arithmetic chemistry concept of calculations in Kcse gives you 30 marks. Take your time. Hakuna kuharakisha. Mole na gas laws, give it a whole term. Na ufunza watoto waelewe kitu kama surely gas laws. You can summarize them after you are through the syllabus. You can summarize in 5 minutes. We just test the mathematical applications of these gas laws. Kama ni Boyle's laws is what? V1 P1 is equal to V2 P2. Charles' law is V1 over T1 is equal to V2 over T2. Then the ideal gas law, 98% of the question of the gas laws, they normally ask more of the Boyle's law, the combined gas law, which is V1 P1 over T1 is equal to V2 P2 over T2. That's the mathematical expression. Let them also know the graphical representation of the Boyle's law and the Charles' law. Go to Graham's law of diffusion. Rate of diffusion of A over rate of diffusion of B is equal to square root of molecular mass of B over molecular mass of A. Time of diffusion of A over time of diffusion of B is equal to square root of molecular mass of A over molecular mass of B. And I use story inaisha. Let the student at least know how to go about that. But let them also know, understand the concept of application. Wanajua vitu, relate them with the thing that they relate. Kama ni concept ya the Charles law. Kwa nini wakati ya wedding unapatanga ukiweka balloon, hizo balloons zinaanzanga ku burst what time? When do the balloons start bursting? In the morning, in the evening, or hapo katikati saa 7?
Afternoon.
Yes, when the temperatures are very high. Increased temperature will lead to expansion. So if you had inflated the balloon to capacity, it's going to burst because the air expands when heated. So the increase in temperature in the morning, it was very cold. And that's also the rationale why we don't inflate. Kama like now, when I tend to inflate my car tire, I feel it at 33, but they can go out to 60. And you always know that if you're using any vehicle. Normally when you are normally it's between 33 to 40. But the maximum capacity of their car tire is 60 because as they start moving, there's that concept of expansion. That's it. So those are things that let us be able to know and also invoke the concept of application. That is it. Gas laws equal term 1. Higher tuendelee. We now go to, after we have done with that, now we go to organic chemistry. We combine organic chemistry 1 and organic chemistry 2. Na kama utapata time, unafanya metals. So you see that organic is a spotlight zone. It is an odd zone. You can be very sure that organic will give you 30 marks in Kcse. Paper 1, 6 marks. Paper 2, around 12 to 14 marks. Paper 3, 10 marks. Give it a good time. Teach it proper. Combine organic 1 and 2. They are very much related. There's a lot of rationale. Then unafunza ka metals pale kwa about remembrance. You can be able to have a look at that. It is very, very much important for you to be able to understand. That is form 3 term 2. Then we go to form 3 term 3 to find the acid bases and salts, energy changes in chemical and physical. You see, I've given only 2 topics in that term. I'm not giving, form 4 topics are very katangaras, by the way. Form 4 topics is everything. Hapa kuna so there's no way you go to LAM. And this now, we wait until the last minute due to naanza kurakisha syllabus ya form 4. So the concept of acid bases of salt. There's a lot of interchange here. We have, I think some people here are very animalistic. Now, can some people be normal and stop disturbing us? Now, you can look at now that topic of acid bases, source and solubility, that's the qualitative analysis iko pale, energy changes, nimempea all term. Zikiwa tu topic mbili. Then from 4 term 1, nimebaki na rate, radioactivity na electrochem. The main topic there is electrochem. Radioactivity is a 2-week thing, and it's also taught in physics. So you are able to have a look at that kind of a thing. And that is how my projection for syllabus coverage is. So that if you follow that route, right from Form 1, you'll be able to finish your syllabus in term 1, Form 4. But in case kuna ka topic amebaki kama na radioactivity, you can take that topic to the first 2 weeks of Form term 2, and you finish that. Is that workable, teachers?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The idea that we need here is we need to be structured the way we sit to the syllabus. Let us not just wake up in the morning in term 1 and Form 4 and say, Mwalimu, unasikia tu. Let us get back, and those are the problem with most schools. We just panic for the Form 4, and those are the only people we plan. So we want to finish the syllabus. You cannot do it for Form 4, by the way. Form 4, ukiangalia topic, syllabus ya Form 4 nimeipea 3 terms, not 2 times like the others. If you just look at it, from term 2, Form 3, ndio nimeandika organic 1 na 2 na metals. Then tukakuja hiyo ingine ikaenda hivyo mpaka tukafika huko. We just need to have enough time to revise Form 4. You see, Form 4 work nimeipea 3 terms, not 2 terms like the others. Because it is everything. Practicals karibu zote ni Form 4. So let us get, I remember, rate, radioactivity, electrochem, and energy will give you between 35 to 60 marks in Kcse. You're already sure that 2 questions in paper 2 will be from those 4 topics: rate, radioactivity, electrochem, na energy. 2 questions. Paper 1, every topic must be tested. So again, 12 marks in paper 1. Again, 12 topics in paper 1. Or rather, 12 marks in paper 1. Then ukuje paper 3, utapata hizo maswali hapo. Either rate, lazima kutokea swali ya damu ama hizo vitu zote. Who is this person who is disturbing us? Now, somebody has a question. Yes.
Around the number, look, I've not gotten when you are supposed to teach more.
The more you teach it after.
When you talk about gas laws,
No, let me just take you back.
You talked about gas laws, then you got, but you didn't mention about them all, and you remember you said we skip it for some time.
Okay, just check on my projection. Is there?
I don't know if it is me. I'm not able to see on my side your projection. Share your screen, please.
My screen is shared. Am I warning?
We can see.
We can see.
Madam.
No.
Okay.
Moles is after gas laws.
Okay.
Are you saying it?
I've seen.
Just look for me after I'm through. I'll be able to say. So now, number 2, attitude change. The attitude is conceived in Form 1 and nourished throughout. How do you listen? I've said it. Let me say. Hata hiyo shule mkiletea motivational speaker, hata mkileta Obama kwa hiyo shule zenu, if chemistry is failing, the best way to bring results, first of all, the results. That's how you bring attitude. And how do you get good results? One, maliza syllabus mapema. Ikishaisha, once you're through with the syllabus now, group your students, pick the bright student, identify in 30-day school, identify that one student that you can drill and give attention. Kama ni so many papers and a mark, drill that student akupe a plane moja. Moja tu hata si mbili, kama kuna moja tu. Look at those poor conductors. Drill them on practicals. Drill them on practical. Identify the odd zone. Odd zones ni vitu kama periodic table. Kuna vitu za free marks kama kuchora graphs hata kama ni theory ama ni nini, wapitishe tu. Haya, angalia topic za non-metals. Non-metals. Wapitishe. You see, like for example, ukiangalia area zote kama manufacture of sulfuric acid, harbor process, nitric. If you have even there's a lot of correlation there. Combine the notes that were given by Mr. Bugusa about revision. Vitu za uses, vitu za how to prepare a gas. Like you see, there we have more than 12 gas that can be prepared using the same setup. Yeah, kuna this trophanum dropping na nini na conical flask, the way Mr. Bugusa explained that. This chemistry of non-metals na metals watoto wanaweza kumbuka. The raw materials for sulfuric acid, the raw material for harbor, those are for the poor conductors. Wajua hizo vitu. Mambo ya separation of mixtures, wakuwa najua how to separate some of those things. Then you drill on the practicals and graph work. Tell them how to guess. Even in chemistry you can guess. If you are told to compare the atomic radius of Q and R, hizo maswali zinakujanga kwa periodic table. Tell the student akiambiwa kitu kama compare the atomic radius, anaweza jibu hivi, the atomic radius of Q is greater ama larger than that of R. Hata apate swali moja. Tell the student even when they are told to identify those issues of the strong reducing, to be able to identify even on a pick one of the things. Train them on how to use some of these formulas. And they will be able to get at least 15 marks in paper 1, 15 marks in paper 2. Then practical wa drill wapate 25. Very easy. Ule mtoto bright, target that kid akupatie airplane. Angalia watoto weak wasikupatie E. Maybe unaweza reduce the number of Daudi aliyetoa sadaka ma D-. Upate kuna 2D plane, kuna D- kadhaa kama ni wale weak, na kuna kaya moja ama tuwili. Watoto wakienda pale kwa notice board wanasikia so and so John had an E in chemistry. Then they'll know chemistry can be, mtoto anaweza pata A because kuna mmoja alipata, si hata wawili. But now when you teach at school and your highest grade is a D+ in chemistry, how will you tell students they can pass chemistry, my friend? And I can tell you, I give you this challenge because I handled it in Chaume, that in those small day schools, but they watoto wanapatanga A kwa sciences na maths. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
It's true.
That is very true.
Enda udrill watoto, maliza syllabus mapema ndio udrill watoto practicals. Na muongee na principals, nunua zile vitu za maana. Enda ununue sodium hydroxide, aqueous ammonia, nunua lead nitrate, barium nitrate. Those things are enough. Then ununue some of the chemicals that are there. Tumia maji ya mvua. It is better than even the deionized water. You're going to work it out. Then now, mambo ya attitude ya chemistry, it is conceived in Form 1 and nourished throughout. How do you introduce chemistry in Form 1? Yule mtu unafunza kama zaidi, if now, up to now, you have never given your student any practical, you are a witch. If Form 1 hawajaenda lab, you are not normal. Excite them in the lab as early as wamefika. Wamefika hapo, first 2 weeks, take them to the lab. Excite them, train them on how to read by vitu dogo kama the command, the rules of the lab. Wakiona unakuja unawasifu, unauliza maswali, wanaona kumbe hata chemistry mtu anaweza jisomea. Take them to the lab. Let them see those small few apparatus zenye ziko kwa shule yako hata kama ni kidogo aje. Carry out a particular protocol. Enda uchukue hydrogen peroxide na enda mix na mchanga. Test for oxygen. Watasema this is a magic, this is magician. You know, those kind of things. And I've done it to some of the schools that I visited. I was in Mombasa the other day, and I carried that protocol of soil. And I don't know, Jennifer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, and your students were very excited when they thought I am a magician from the moon who came with made the oxygen using the soil from Mombasa, you know. And those are things that I just, is something that, and you can be very sure that the Form 1s were more excited about it. And they were able to test for oxygen, ikawaka, ukasema hii ni magic, you know, those kind of things. You don't even need manganese oxide. To me, I'm changa. Hydrogen peroxide is the cheapest thing that you can get in this world. So psych these students. Then how do you get to class? How do you salute? When the student go to Alliance High School, the student know when this is how I salute them. Then when I get to the class, I'll ask them. The main focus, inspire from the start. And you can be able to say, like this now, from the start, I'll tell students, good morning and welcome to our magnetic. Of course, the students I'll ask them now, good morning, student. They'll respond, good morning, the ocean of chemistry. Welcome to our magnetic chemistry class, the paragon of excellence. You know, the way they start. And you know, the Form 1s are very excited. So I tell them, this is the ocean of chemistry. So when I greet them, good morning, working chemicals, they'll respond, good morning, the ocean of chemistry. Welcome to our magnetic chemistry class, the paragon of excellence. They'll vary and they'll say, good morning, the ocean of chemistry, another day. Welcome to 1C, the headquarters of chemistry in East Africa. You know, another day they'll change and say, good morning, the ocean of chemistry. Welcome to 1G, the Iupac command center. You know, this kind of psyching. And you know, like the student in my class, they always know that Alliance High School is the headquarters of chemistry in East Africa. They know I am a board member of Iupac. In that kind of a scenario, I've inspired those students. They believe in themselves. They believe they're the best. They believe they're being taught by the best. And that kind of a scenario, they get psyched. Nanasema, hanza hii kazi Form 1. You see, good morning. We are the certified warlords of chemistry. You know, the way they say it, the way they repeat it, you know. In fact, this one I normally even talk to teachers. Even this thing I even give it to Kiswahili teachers. Like for example, I'm Jambo Mambingo wa Kiswahili. I'm Jambo Mambingo anasema hatujambo ngwinchi wa Kiswahili. And then mwalimu akimaliza anasema asante sana mwalimu. Sisi ni wale mabingwa wa alama ya A. You know. Then you say, thank you for the lesson. We are the chemistry gurus. We are the magnetic. We are still the airplane students. No, so like the way you start, the way you finish your lesson, it must be full of energy, full of vibes. You know that kind of energy, that kind of vibes. You know, you are the magnet. You are everything. Sasa Form 1 wakianza kudoubt wewe, hata ujui unaenda. You cannot even remember the difference between luminous and non-luminous flame. You need those teachers who will go there and draw luminous and non-luminous na waanze kuandika vitu tofauti. Because they are confused, they are not prepared. So somebody will even make, you see, but those are things that I've seen it. That somebody goes and even cannot even write, cannot even differentiate the distro funnel and what? And the dropping funnel. Later, these students start knowing. Please, mwalimu si wewe si mtu wa kwenda class na kitabu ya kufunza Form 1 the types of flames. Hata wale wanasema eti mwalimu wetu anakujanga bila kitabu. But read, prepare from the start, watoto wanajue you are the guru. You are the alpha and omega of chemistry. Now, give yourself names. Give yourself titles, you know. I am known as the ocean of chemistry. The student know this Mr. Baluka is not a joke. Is an authority, is a superpower when it comes to the matters of chemistry. And this, listen, it had to start from Form 1. Ukienda waambie Form 4, from today, you are going to be calling me the ocean of chemistry. My friend, hey, watakucheka hata waanguke chini. Alafu unasikia wameanza kusema umejua Mr. Baluka ameanza kuvuta bangi. And they'll never say it. But when you tell them Form 1, they are going to pick it. Is that true? Is that very true?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is true.
It's true.
True.
From
Very true.
entire from the start. So now I think I don't know what has happened with the okay. Yeah, so this one I was just telling you, these are some of the methodologies of revising using this one I had given the students, the teachers in Alliance. That's cool. These are the current chart that you use in class. Si kuendanga na vitu zingine hata you cannot look at those. Look at that flow. Anyway, I've made them myself. Some of the charts we're using in school, they are so useless. Are those charts communicating?
Yes.
They are very magnetic. It is good to teach. Ukienda wachie watoto hii mambo ya sulfuric, mambo ya nini, look at the things that you're using in school. Are they up to date? Do they make sense? You get, look at that. This is what you call the Octopus technique, you get. And you get the best. So now, the charts are, let me see when I can be able to get let me see whether I have something here.
Mister,
Yes.
you've just closed a very good chat there. Will you just show me it again?
Which one?
The revision, the one that you've just closed as you continue searching.
Okay, I'll show you. You see? These are the things
Okay,
these are the things I'm talking about. Look at that.
Okay.
Look at that flowchart.
Not seeing
Unaiona kweli?
Can't see it, sir.
Oh, sorry.
The flow chart.
Oh, I was just okay. You know, I'm synchronizing so many things. So, Munaiona sasa, eh?
Yeah.
Now, when you say we are the Iupac Command Center, this is what we mean. Look at that flowchart. It is summarizing everything about the test for cation. Everything. What can we do? You see the way that thing is. It's a one page. Na kuuliza hata kama mtoto ni wiki aje. Si ukishinda ukiripiti hii kitu anaweza repeat mara 10 akaanza kushika kweli. Si anaweza shika.
Yes.
So when you talk about the Octopus technique, this is what we mean. Kama ni hizo vitu watoto wajui hizi vitu zote, how do you go that? These are the only thing that can be tested. These things I niliwapitisha the other time. Of course, but the organic, this is the only thing that can be tested, nothing else. And it's summarized in one page in the Mr. Chemistry Practical Guide. So these are things that I did. Of course, I'll be able to fundeni watoto kuchoka hiyo nini. So like now, I will not be able to either vitu nitawapia baadaye. I think in all things for success to be achieved, it depends on previous preparations. And if there's no such preparation, there's sure to be failure. So that is what you need to know. That's my contact for those who don't have my contact, but I think everybody here.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
It's David. Huh?
Yeah.
Teacher David, I was asking.
Yeah.
You said you prepared the oxygen gas by reacting hydrogen peroxide and some soil.
Yeah.
Which chemical is present in soil that generates oxygen when reacted with hydrogen peroxide?
Which chemical is found in soil that makes it to be able to oxidize hydrogen peroxide? Soil mainly contains transition elements. Mainly, it has a lot of iron. I remember transition elements, when you're teaching in Form 2, you are taught in Form 2, you said one of the properties of transition element is that they have what?
More than one of
they exhibit catalytic properties. All the catalysts that you know, they are under transition elements. Normally that contains iron. But then ukichukua two iron, we just pick any solution of iron 2 and then mix it with hydrogen peroxide. It's going to be able to, remember, iron 2 is a reducing agent. Iron is a reducing agent. So it will be able to oxidize hydrogen peroxide it will be oxidized by hydrogen peroxide iron 3, but now will reduce hydrogen peroxide to water and oxygen. So these are the kind of things that, look, you see, there are some things that people have never thought about. Look at that. Oh, by the way,
Yes.
You're not seeing what I'm sharing. Let me show you. I'm going to show you something that you have never seen. Look at that. Of course, these are not the current chart. The current chart is more updated. This one is red, not yellow. But normally, ideally, boron is a non-metal. It is more of a non-metal than a metal. But of course, from the chemistry we teach, it is a metal. But are you seeing the way that chart of periodic table is communicating? Are you seeing it? First of all, down the group, there is increase in what?
Size.
There is increase in
Across the
atomic
period.
decrease.
So you see, hii kitu hata ukiweka kwa class. This is how you provoke learners. Form 1 wataanza kuona yes, wakikuwa kwa chemical family, wanaanza kuona yes, wanaona is there. Then wanaanza kuulizana, but why is 14 smaller than 13? Why is 7 smaller than 5? So, you know, by the time you reach trade across the period, the student will have already, of course, aroused the curiosity of this learner. Let us be able to, as we try to target, let us, I think,
Yeah.
I don't know what is that.
Mr. Mbaluka.
Yeah.
Mr. Mbaluka.
Yes, I'm getting you.
This is Obonyo.
Yes.
Yeah, we just is that the same chart there?
Yes. Yes.
Is that the same chart there?
Yes.
Is that issue of the group 8? That issue of I'm seeing your chart is clearly showing that their size is bigger than the others.
Clearly
showing that their size is bigger than the others. Explanation is what is normally an issue.
Yeah, because that one is beyond the syllabus.
Yeah,
because that one is not. Okay, I think somebody asked to fonts. Okay, I think somebody asked to. Can that person disconnect? Can that person disconnect one of the gadgets? One of the gadgets. Let me just explain this. So this one is beyond. Obonyo, this one we don't teach. So this one is beyond. Obonyo, this one we don't teach. But for purposes of the superior powers of the teacher, I can explain of the superior powers of that in an atom there are two types of forces. We have the repulsion force between the like charges, and we have the attraction forces. So between the outermost electron and the positive nucleus. So whatever determines the atomic radius is that attraction between the outermost electrons and the what? And the positive nucleus. But that attraction is very minimal when the atom is stable. So for noble gases, remember the outermost energy level contains, or rather is stable, rather contains the maximum number of electrons. So does not contain the delocalized electron. Therefore, the attraction is very minimal. But that kind of knowledge, even when you are teaching the trade across period 3, we ignore argon. And when you are setting an exam, don't set an exam whereby argon, you are telling the student to compare argon and chlorine. It is wrong, because that is beyond their scope. They are going to learn that when they go to advanced chemistry, not here. And I think, guys, Mr. Bungusa, yeah.
Hello, before you close, huh?
Yes.
Another concept, small concept. Huh?
Yes.
There is this topic here, precipitation.
Yes.
Is it necessary? Is it in order to teach it after teaching its solubility in salts?
The precipitation of what?
whole concept. That's a subtopic about precipitation, formation of precipitates. There's a curve, a graph there.
Yeah,
I
the
was asking, is it in order?
lead nitrate and potassium nitrate. Lead nitrate and potassium iodide. That is what you're talking about.
Yes.
The thing what?
Is it how do you approach it?
No, that's what you do is like just chemical reaction, like because the student have the knowledge of salt. Of course, you have already thought salt and solubility before you go to mole concept. So it's a missed concept from where I see it, because it is bring about
is it in order to
stoichiometry.
So there'll be no harm. There'll be no harm skipping it. As long as
sorry, I've muted people. Can you unmute yourself and talk?
Okay, I'm saying now I'm saying this. Now that the students have been taught some concept about solubility of salts in Form 2.
Yeah.
Will there be any reason of repeating the same concept when?
No. You need to repeat. Yeah, the way you're saying, you can review that concept of precipitation with them. Hello.
Banambaluka.
Yes.
Banambaluka also have a concern here.
Yes.
This plot, the charts that you're showing, like for example, the simplified periodic table.
Yes.
Is it possible for some of us to be able maybe to get it?
To get what? Mwalimu amepotea. Alikuwa anasema nini?
Amanda.
Okay, now I think I want to end there. Mr. Muguzo, I think it's late. Mr. Muguzo, is it here? Mr. Muguzo, uko hapa? Yeah.
Sorry, I guess my connection maybe is somehow low.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so is it possible to get a chart that we can buy, maybe that is created by you?
Yeah, those charts are available in hard copy. We can take, because remember, these ones are called talking words. Hata ukiwa na chart tu moja kama hii, we normally make them in canvas. We can be able to send you can just put them in strategic place in the school, and you can just use one chart, and then the student can be able to release and learn some other things.
Secondly, maybe some of us, Baluka.
Sorry, Mwalimu.
Okay, I was saying, some of us, we have not been preparing maybe gases in the lab. Hata pia sisi hatukufanya kwa lab yetu. Is it possible maybe we can learn these concepts from somewhere else, like your lab and so on? Can you allow some of us to come and benchmark?
Yeah, that benchmark is allowed in Alliance School. It's very much allowed.
So what methodology do we have here?
From there, now that you have my number,
Excuse me, Mr. Baluka.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can call me later, then we can discuss about that.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, now, please, Walimu, I think I'll allow one of you to say.
Excuse me, Mr. Baluka.
Yes.
It is Stephen.
Yes. Walimu naona wanataka kuongea about the problem. There are people who have raised hands, but I cannot be able to get them. Can I get one of you to give a vote of that? Maybe you can talk. Somebody can talk on behalf of the others, whether you have gained something, or maybe you give us something. It's always good that when we hold something that we can be able to get. Somebody who want to talk, whether Steve, Doc, CP.
Can you hear me?
Please, can you unmute yourself? Yes? Unmute yourself if you wanted
to talk. Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, David. Personally, I just want to appreciate. Personally, I want to really appreciate you for the video of the mentoring so many. Actually, maybe from the interaction that we have had there for sometimes.
Yeah.
We tend to learn a lot. I've learned a lot actually using your book, the Demystifying, the Guru. They're really good books. And actually, they can change the perspective of somebody along my side. And that Demystifying practical is just a perfect one. I just love it so much. I would really appreciate if you produce a new copy, also a new edition, maybe the 6th or the 7th or the 6th. But you're really doing a good job.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a role model to many, and keep organizing for so many of such, because you get to learn a lot.
Yes, yes.
Number 2,
yes.
I also want to say that we have never regretted inviting you to our school for the talk.
Yes.
You always give your best.
Okay, thank you.
And like the last time you came here, the boys did very well, and they really appreciated your coming.
Yes.
So I think you're just rising because you are open to give. You don't charge. You don't boast about what you know. It's the grace of the God that is in you that much far.
Yes.
And that humbleness, when I'm a looker, will take you far. Personally, you are my role model, and I'm really looking up to you.
Okay, thank
and
you.
The mentoring you're doing, God bless you and your family.
Thank you, thank you. That is Mr. Onyango Mango?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
congratulations. You did very magnetic, and it is important to understand that my book helped you a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And,
yes.
see you
The
soon.
practical book did us a lot. Welcome.
Yes, of course, the practical book is the best. So for those who are not aware, is that Mango are leading this year, and as you have heard, they have used a lot of my products. That is the Guru and the practical book. We also have the notebooks, and I think people can be able to get them. I have documented most of my things in my notebook. I have summarized the note. The Guru is the best for revision. So, Jennifer, you wanted to talk? Maybe we can have one lady. Jennifer? Amepotea. Emma?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I'm here.
Okay, first I thank you a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Emma.
Yes.
It's immaculate.
Yes.
I thank you a lot. I've gained a lot.
Yes.
And I can testify that. I'm from Machakos.
Okay, okay.
It's immaculate.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I thank you a lot, and I can testify that you are really an ocean of chemistry. You helped me. I got an hair. You are an immaculate mother. You are a student.
Okay, very good. That was the first student in my day school to get an A. Now she's to get an airplane and to go to the university in Chaume in 2013. Now she's a teacher of chemistry and biology. I did not even know that she's one of them. That is the immaculate mother Mutuku, isn't it?
Yes.
So I am very happy to hear about that, and I think it's good that you people we are getting like that. That was my first student in that day school to get an airplane in chemistry, and it's important and very such a coincidence that she's here in this class, and she's one of the teachers teaching chemistry, and that is what we pray for everybody to be able to get. Thank you, guys, and I think unless somebody maybe you can unmute yourself before I close.
Yeah, thank you to Mr. Baluka Mela. Hello.
Hello.
I am Mela, but I was just requesting.
Yes.
Mr. Baluka.
Yes.
I was requesting if you can get a day, you get one for just paper 3.
Yes.
So you can just cover paper 3. We will appreciate.
I can do that. I will do that. This was a follow-up, but now people will have to, because these Zooms, like for this one is paid. You see, like now it is able to work because it's paid, so that people can also be able to share. But I'll be able to see what I can be able to do. I can also organize an online workshop. We'll see whether it works.
Yeah, we can. We'll join.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the good presentation.
People can just write their presentation on the chat. And thank you so much for attending the workshop. God bless you.
Thank you too.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, have a good
Thank you and goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Okay, that is all for
Thank
this
you.
one.
God
One
bless
together.
you, sir.
Have a
We are very grateful.
very
Good night.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
meeting is dissolved.